Not quite a shade of Carolina blue out there in Arizona. What fancy big league hotel are you staying in out there, by the way? Because I know it's a big league joint.
You know where we are.
No, where are you? The curtains look like you might be at the Wigwam.
We're at Jerry's place.
The Wigwam.
Yes.
Jerry Colangelo, former owner of the Suns and Diamondbacks. That's a big league joint. Have you got one of those like little casitas? Are you back over by the golf course? Or are you kind of stuck in the middle like I always would be with a common man? You're probably not in that area.
We're in a casita.
Why am I not surprised? Probably very similar to the place Tracy stayed in Danville, Illinois a few days ago.
The room is huge.
Let's get right to it.
All right.
Your thoughts on your North Carolina Tar Heels, preseason number 1, and now it looks like they won't make it.
It looks like they won't make it. Are you kidding? There is no chance. Like I said last night, people said, well, let's sit around and wait. I said, wait for what? A low NIT. And if they want to really put themselves out of the misery, then they just don't even accept an NIT bid, although I don't think they would do that. Last night was such a contrast in the way the two teams approached their craft. Virginia was brilliant in terms of ball movement and player movement. Carolina was not in either one of those categories. They had spurts where they did things right. They never look like they're running any kind of play. And Virginia does it every time they cross the midcourt line. They've got 5 guys moving simultaneously, and they have somebody who cuts off a screen and he gets a layup. I'll bet you in the second half, Virginia had 12 layups, either breaking down your man off the dribble or getting a screen and taking a pass and laying it into the basket. There was such a contrast in coaching styles and quite honestly, coaching ability, because Carolina has never looked to me this season like, except for certain games, and they were on top of their game against Boston College. That's because they were hitting their outside shots. But they never look like they have any scheme offensively on the floor. And defensively, they just get beat off the dribble all the time. Those 2 guards couldn't guard me. And so, they got put out of their misery last night by a very good Virginia team who I do not think is capable of winning the national championship. But they are very good and they are extremely well coached. And now Carolina's got to lick their wounds and decide what the heck is going to happen next year. I see these people talking on the internet about how they really got to get heavy into the transfer portal and things of this nature. They're not going to have any scholarships. And the worst case scenario for them next year is if Baycott and R.J. Davis and, God forbid, Caleb Love all decide to come back. Those guys there, in addition to the kids that have already committed to come there, and they've got the second-ranked recruiting class in the country coming in next year, they don't have any scholarships left. They lose 2 players. They lose Justin McCoy, who was a transfer portal kid from Virginia 2 years ago, and maybe Baycott, maybe. And if he decides to come back, they don't have any more scholarships. In fact, they've got to figure out how they're going to keep the people they've got.
Well, hey, look, some coaches, they just lay it right out there to kids and just say, hey, look, this is the deal. Yeah, you can come back. We'll honor the scholarship, but we know how this works. Sometimes you're running guys off. And in truth be told, it's just as good for them as it maybe is for you, because pick any random player, not Baycott necessarily, but say, and I'm not going to say Caleb Love because I know you're down on the guy, but if he comes back, he's starting again next year. You know that.
Probably.
Yeah. But let me, and the thing about Virginia, by the way, it was such a shame. The kid who transferred from Ohio University, who's had a nice year from them, Ben Vanderplus, the day before the tournament starts, breaks his hand. He's out for the year. That was a real shame, and that hurts Virginia very, very much.
Yes.
Then there's your guy, Cal. I mean, you're always talking him up. John Calipari. I mean, he's ready to go. I got a feeling it's a deep postseason run for Cal.
I think there's a very possibility of that happening. I mean, they're really playing well now. And of course, they stubbed their toe when who was it beat them a couple of games ago? Is Paul there today?
Vanderbilt, and they play them again tonight. Right. Now,
No,
there's the guy
Somebody
Carolina should have hired. There's the guy Carolina should have hired, Stackhouse. That guy's won 20 games at Vanderbilt.
He's done it once.
I understand, but I mean, that's Vanderbilt.
Wait a minute. Hubert Davis took them to the national championship last year.
That was lightning.
Jerry Stackhouse has won 20 games one time. Yeah. That was this year. One season, we found out from Carolina last year, doesn't make a career.
I understand, but you and I both know the talent level difference between Vanderbilt playing in a better league this year in the SEC than the ACC, where Hubert Davis. Yep. I mean, to win I just think the guy, and I watched him play, and I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but Vanderbilt, to me, they appear to be really well coached to me. I think Stackhouse has got a very bright future.
I don't doubt. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And whether he would admit it or not, if he has another year next year like he had this season, he'll use that Vanderbilt job as a springboard to something better. Because Vanderbilt's known for a lot of things, but the last number of years, they have not been noted for their ability to play college basketball. Now, years past, they've been very good, but recently they haven't been. But I don't think they made a mistake in naming Hubert Davis head coach last year. I'm not ready to get rid of him yet. But I just think there's some things that he needs to do to firm up his situation in Chapel Hill and become a better coach, because they just seem like they don't know what they're doing out there. And he made a comment last night after the game about how sad he was for his players. Sad? You ought to be ashamed, not sad. So I don't know. It's just a mess down there right now. And I feel I have enough confidence in the way that program has been over the last 65 years that they're going to be okay. But I still say, and I want to remind people that I said it some time back, they're going to lose some of the kids through a transfer portal that they might have recruited last year or the year before, simply because they did not get a chance to play this season. He had no decent rotation. He did not develop any depth at all, other than maybe one or two players. And I think some of these highly talented kids that came in last year or the year before are going to leave and go somewhere where they know they're going to be able to play.
All right, let me ask you this. Another guy you've always been high on, and the numbers speak for themselves, is Rick Pitino. Now, all of a sudden, after 3 years at Iona, and look, I'm not a big Pitino guy, but I will say this. I know he's getting paid good money, but for him to be where he's been and to take the last 3 years and commit himself and pour it in where he's won a ton of games, I think he's 62-21 in his 3 years at Iona, okay? Now, there was a time 1,000 years ago Iona basketball was a big deal. Now, all of a sudden, he is right in the rumor mill for the Georgetown job. Patrick Ewing was let go yesterday. What do you think about Rick Pitino to Georgetown?
You know, I'm not surprised at that, because I think it was just a matter of time based on what you just said a moment ago about the success he's had at Iona. And I give the guy a lot of credit. He did not allow his pride to say, I'm too good to coach at Iona. He went there, he developed the program quickly, and he's been highly successful. It just doesn't seem the mix to me. Rick Pitino in Georgetown just doesn't seem to mix with me. Now, maybe it'll work out fine, and if he's offered the job, I would imagine he'll take it. I haven't seen his name mentioned for any other jobs. Not to say that hasn't happened, but you haven't seen that publicly like you saw the Georgetown situation yesterday. It would not surprise me a bit if he took it. And I got news for you. Rick Pitino could take a kindergarten team and make it a national power. I just think he's a great coach. He's had his warts. There's no question about that. But I think the guy is just a great, great coach, and he's going to win wherever he goes because he's going to recruit and he can coach his butt off.
All right, let's shift gears now to baseball. You're out there at that highfalutin 6-star Tracy Jones-like joint, the Wigwam, hobnobbing with all the big boys out there in Major League Baseball. What have you been doing? Have you popped over to the Reds complex? Kind of a vibe, touching base with David Bell, whatever the case may be, Bob Castellini, whomever. Have you seen anybody like that? Have you been over there yet?
Thom, I got here last night.
Oh, all right. Okay. I didn't know. I mean, you've sort of disappeared. You went to New Orleans and you were down there in the streets of Bourbon Street and all that kind of thing, all hours of the night. And then you go over and see your granddaughter.
You went to see Ella for a couple of days, was down in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And then we went up to New Mexico for a couple of nights. And then we drove in here yesterday. Got in here about 5:30 yesterday afternoon.
Did you go up to like Taos, New Mexico, do a little skiing, something like that up there?
That would be incorrect. If somebody gets me up on if somebody takes a picture of me on skis, it's going to be big time because that ain't happening.
All right, but you are going to go over to the Reds complex. I mean, after all, that's why you're there, right?
Yes and no. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll be over there. I got to go pick up some stuff today over there. I got to see my boy Rick Stowe and go pick up some stuff. And we'll probably go to the game tonight. They play Arizona tonight here. They have a split squad day today. They're going over to play Seattle this afternoon. I'm not going there, but we're going to go see them play the Diamondbacks tonight.
So yesterday it was announced by David Bell that Hunter Greene is going to be the opening day starter. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. It would have been a two-horse race here between Greene and Nick Ladolo, and they go with Greene. Look, nobody has a crystal ball about what Greene is going to do or what he's going to become or whatever it is. But, this is what you want a top pick to do for your franchise, is to overcome the injury, which he did, get to the big leagues, and now all of a sudden one day be your franchise's opening day starter.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think right now Nick Ladolo is a better pitcher than Hunter Greene. Right now, today, I think he's a better pitcher than Hunter Greene is. But he had the benefit of going through a very big-time college baseball program at TCU. So I think he's ahead of Hunter Greene. Now, as far as power is concerned, probably not a pitcher in the National League, maybe in Major League Baseball has the all-around power or that can wear the title of power pitcher better than Hunter Greene can wear it. But I think he's still got a long way to go. I think Hunter Greene or Nick Ladolo has less time to go before he gets to the point where he's going to be considered maybe the number one pitcher on this staff, because I really believe that at this point he's further along than Hunter Greene is. We'll see what happens down the road. I think Hunter Greene's future is really bright if he can stay healthy. So I don't think it was any great surprise that the manager named him as the opening day starter. I think that was to be expected from anybody who followed this team, with all the hype the kid has gotten since he became a number one draft pick. And now it all boils down to getting it done for a second year in a row, beginning on opening day against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Look, there have been some bright spots, and I know there are a lot of people that want to, just be negative and be down about the Reds and on and on and on. We know the reasons why, and they're all perfectly viable arguments. But, whatever stock you put in spring training, I don't think a lot of people do. But they've had some guys where it's been very encouraging, some of these young guys we've heard a lot about so far in the spring, about a week and a half, 2 weeks in.
There's no question about that. In fact, the one kid, Christian Encarnacion Strand, who is a first baseman, third baseman, I think is incredibly opened eyes in terms of a very slimmer bit of light that might indicate that he's going to make the opening day roster. I know the conversation has already started. I know they poo-poo it because they've still got a lot of time left in spring training. A kid that can hit, I think he hit across 2 or 3 different classifications last year, 32 home runs. He's a kid that could very well surprise and make this club. The kids that were on the team last year that have shown up, the Friedel kid, the Fraley kid, they got in the Seattle trade, an outfielder. So they've got some kids that have talent, and they have to continue to mature to get this organization to a point where it wants to be. And so this year is going to be a year in which the maturation process will continue for a lot of these kids. I mean, Tyler Stevenson, there's not a better all-around young player, I don't think, in baseball at his position than he is. I think he's going to be an outstanding player. He's going to hit for power. He's going to be a good receiver, although I'm totally opposed to him catching for the rest of his career because of the concussion thing. So they've got some people that they can be optimistic about. Now, are they going to be a contending team? It would be divine intervention for this team to be an impact team in terms of a contender in the National League Central in 2023. But I think as far as young talent is concerned, I don't think there's another team in baseball, maybe 1 or 2, that are better equipped to look down the road and say with any degree of certainty that these kids have the talent to really make this a very, very good ball club down the road.
All right. Everett wants to know real quick, Dad, is that a dragonfly bracelet you're donning today?
It certainly is.
Yes, it is. I'm glad to. How about your guy Everett? He's always looking out for you.
Here it is right here. Dragonfly Foundation. You can't see it good.
Very nice.
See it?
Yep.
There it is right there.
They do fantastic work.
Yeah, they do. And I have a bracelet, also a bracelet on it that says, "What would Marty say?" What would Marty do? No, it says say. Yeah, what would Marty say?
Who gave you that bracelet? Who made that for you?
You know the engineer that we had in Chicago, Billy?
Of course.
Oh, with that. You know who I'm talking about.
I know you.
Radio engineer.
Yeah.
He gave me a whole bag full of them my last year with the club. He said, "You need to wear this." I said, "Oh, if you think I need to wear it, then I'll wear it."
Right. So before we let you go, who are you most looking for? You mentioned Rick Stowe, his father, legendary clubhouse manager for the Reds forever. Bernie Stowe. Now, Rick has been running the show for years and years after his dad now. After him, who are you most looking forward to seeing? Would that be Chris Welsh? Would that be your good friend Jim Day? I don't know, David Bell? I mean, who are you most looking forward to seeing out there?
Well, my 2 guys really at the end of the day are Jamie Ramsey and Larry Herms.
Okay.
They are the 2 guys that I really love. And I talked to them on the phone at length the other day while we were in New Mexico. And they are all fired up about me showing up today. And but I love Rick like a son. And I love the Stowe family. So I'm looking forward to seeing Rick. Jim Day, of course. After that, I don't know. Easy come, easy go, man. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Well, we had your buddy Tracy on yesterday. He misses you. He was in rare form yesterday.
He's getting ready for Brennaman and Jones on baseball that will be beginning on Monday of opening day week.
Okay. So you're driving back or flying back?
No, we're flying back. We're coming back a week from Saturday. Week from tomorrow.
All right. Well, you'll be around for a couple of Lukey Man's games before.
Oh, I think he's playing that Monday night. We're going to be there that Monday night.
Yeah, that'll be a bad day for somebody. I don't know who, but for somebody.
I know it will.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
safe travels. Safe travels out there,
okay.
and enjoy. That 6-star resort and all the big league operators out there in Goodyear, Arizona.
If I see Joey Colangelo, I'll tell him you said hello.
Please do. Send him our best.
I will.
All right.
All right,
travels.
pal.
We love you. We'll talk to you
Take
soon.
care.
All right.
You bet.
So he wasn't in too bad of a mood about the Tar Heels.